Yeah.
Talk about it. But that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, they get to a point in their career and they just haven't done it. And now you're either halfway to retirement and you're like, oh shucks, I gotta catch up.
And I wish corporations did a better job of this. It's probably why I'm trying to segue some in my business into this, is that you have these 401ks, you have these funds, you have these benefits, but you're not necessarily educating your employees on how to take much is check benefit of the benefit per se. So if I have a 401k, I have match. So how does that match within my paycheck? How can I contribute? Because people will say, oh, I need to contribute this and I'm not contributing enough. But I had someone come to me and say, I'm only contributing 20% of my paychecks.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm doing enough. I wanted to flat them. A,
Whoa.
the fact that we've been, again, this conditioning when it comes to currency is crazy because you've been told and sold on social media that you need to be doing this and doing that. And then you're actually doing well. You
Yes.
need more insight. And I wish corporations would say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this 6% match. So how does that flow into not only the money, the dough that you give now, but how is it going to grow over time? And then how do you educate your employees on the funds within their retirement fund? Because people just
Crazy.
put money over there, but they're not allocating, and then they come down the line about to retire and call me and want me to educate them on how to align their
Right.
allocations. I
It's
had a
no
lot of
late.
people last month to do so. I'm like, friend, you're knocking at the door, and now you want to know what's going on. But I think the whole educational aspect that some employers should do is that yes, you have good benefits, but how are you educating your employees on taking action on them and aligning for their goals? Because a lot of people know about target date funds, but do you know about large cap funds? Do you know about small cap funds? Do you know about asset allocation and diversification? You're not educating them on that. So
That's good stuff right there. That is good stuff. So let's dive into our second segment, which is called Truth Is. And we're going to talk about the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth about finances, but really some of the common fallacies about money management. We've talked a little bit about that in wealth sustainment. So what are some truths or some things that you feel like, besides what we just talked about, that are not being discussed that women of color need to be successful and to get the paper together?
So one thing that I have been seeing, I'm in a Black women in tech group. Obviously, I'm not in tech, but as someone that has been noticing a lot of Black women going into tech as a financial planner, you go where your people are. Um,
Amen.
one of the things that I have been noticing is they come. This is like the new money group. Not. I'm just keeping it honest. But I'm noticing too that this new money group is, yes, they're getting all this money, they're getting the bag, they able to do whatever, but they're not saving in emergency funds. And then it becomes not as much so fun when something happens.
Mm.
Something happens like a layoff, something happens like a reorg. And now we're noticing some corporations are trying to play with compensation where it looks like your paycheck is lesser than what it used to be. So going back to understanding what emergency funds look like is they're supposed to have the 3 to 6 months of savings, but a lot of people don't understand their savings formula. And when you're moving into another level of money, or even you're at a level of money, but you don't know how to save at one level, how's it going to look whenever you get more money and you need to learn how to save at that level? It's still your formula, the formula that I used to have back when I was making 50,000 or 70,000, it shifted more when I was making 98, 110, or what have it. So, but the formula I had then, I was able to calculate and realign when I made more. So, knowing that emergency funds are essential, because it saddens me every time now I look on the headlines, I'm strolling. Who was that? PwC, I think, yeah. Just laid off 1,800. Different companies just laying off, and tech is getting
Wow.
hit really hard right now.
It
And
is.
for
Tech
tech,
is.
it's scary. For tech to be one of those big areas that we are going into as women of color, people of color, to see the layoffs happening when we already laid up in it, meaning we made transitions, emergency funds are critical and essential, no matter if you're making 100,000 or making 10,000. But having
Mm.
a rainy day fund and knowing that you're supposed to have 3 to 6 months of expenses And, going back to my whole thing about the savings formula, starting with only saving, understanding how much your life costs.
That's good.
Then understanding, yes, I need to have 3 to 6 months, but then breaking down the goals even more to say how much is the month it is, but how much can I contribute from my paycheck to save with at least that month. When you get that month saved, you're able to say, okay, this is what I can do. This is how long it's going to take. This is project management. You have a goal and you work it back with your reverse engineering. So whenever
Love
you
it.
get that month saved, you're able to say, okay, it's going to take me 5 months or 10 months or whatever based upon the expenses and how my money circulates now. So going back to the thing is that layoffs happen. Emergency funds are not just necessarily when you get laid off. It could be if you have to go to the hospital for a couple months and you're not going to be able to have disability or long-term care or anything like that. That's an emergency. It's that seeing what potential emergencies that you have and the risk of them happening, and then reallocating how to alleviate the risk of the prolonged impact that it would have. So it's knowing that emergency funds are essential, but also making sure